toll is probably going to go very substantially higher. Our hearts go out to the families of these innocent children. No parent should have to suffer the terrible loss of a child at the hands of terrorists or anybody else. Today's attack on Israel cannot be forgotten, and it will go down as another moment in history created by a weak and ineffective United States president and vice president. They wouldn't have done this if I were the president. They wouldn't have done it. And they didn't. With time, the situation will only get worse for our country with the kind of leadership that we have right now, which is no leadership. It's probably worse than no leadership. It's negative. It's negative leadership. It must galvanize Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, progressives, libertarians, and everybody else to put strength, respect, and power back into the USA where it belongs. This attack, just like the attack on October 7th or the Ukraine-Russia war, think of it, nor would country-busting inflation. You know, inflation is destroying our country. None of it would have happened. It would have never happened if we were president. It wouldn't have happened. It's a dangerous and terrible time for the world. And it's almost the entire fault of incompetent Biden-Harris administration. She who says that she wasn't the border czar. She wasn't the border czar for 3 years. She was the border czar. She let it be known, I am the border czar. Then she never went to the border. She's terrible. She's worse than he is, I'll tell you right now. I want to be nice. They all say, I think he's changed. I think he's changed since 2 weeks ago. Something affected him. No, I haven't changed. Maybe I've gotten worse, actually, because I get angry at the incompetence that I witness every single day, the way millions of people are pouring into our country. And that's the thing that must change, and it must change quickly. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. As you know, 6 days ago, we officially defeated the worst president in the history of the United States, crooked Joe Biden. Have you heard of him? Have you heard of him? He was badly beaten, and everybody went to him and said, Joe, you can't win, you can't win. He said, no, let me debate him. Let me debate him, please. That didn't work out too well either. That was the end. The debate was the end. You can't beat him, Joe. Now we just beat you, Joe. You're going to lose. You got to get out. We want to get out. You got to get out, Joe. There was nothing nice about what they were doing. It wasn't democracy, was it? It wasn't democracy. They were saying, we want you out of the race, Joe, and we want you out here. You're going to lose. These are quotes from some of the fake news. Look at all the fake news back there. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of fake news, man. That's a lot of fake news, Mike. Joe, you're going to lose. We want to put somebody else in. And then I realized last night I was speaking to a great group of people, Christians, all Christians, and they've been horribly treated by this administration. Today I spoke to Bitcoin crypto. So I went from Christians to Bitcoin, and now I'm with you in Minnesota. We cover a lot of territory. Think of that. So Christians to Bitcoin to Minnesota. So we cover a lot of territory. And I never mess it up by saying, let me tell you about Bitcoin. I don't do that, no. Remember Biden, of course, I don't want to talk too much about him, but when he was in Iowa, and he said, it's great to be in Idaho. No, if I ever did that once, it would be the end. They'd say that's the end. He's cognitively impaired. That would be the end. The fake news would go crazy. But I thought last night, as I was speaking to this incredible group of evangelicals and a lot of others of faith, it's, oh, you like that, don't you, huh? Wow. Wow, that means our country's coming a long way, because You put faith back, you put religion back into our country, it's going to be a much better place. I'll tell you that. When I thought last night, I said, it's sort of unfair. You have a guy, he says he's great, he's president and all that stuff. They rigged the election, but we won't talk about that. And they say he's president. So he comes out raring to go, and he gets badly beaten. He's losing, and all of a sudden he's like a fighter. He's losing. Then they took him out of the fight and they put a new fighter. We have a new victim now, Kamala. New victim. We have a brand new victim. And honestly, she's a radical left lunatic. And she is, when you find out about her, all I have to say is, defund the police. That was her big thing. Let's defund the police. And as I often say, politicians don't change. Whatever they say first, that's where they are. They don't change. Wouldn't you say that, Tom? Whatever they say, if they said 5 years ago, 8 years ago, defund the police, she said it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But so if that's what they say, that's ultimately where they want to go. But this was really a coup by the Democrats. This was a coup of a man that had 14 million votes. He wanted to run. They wouldn't let him run. They treated him horribly. They said to him, we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way. To Joe, he's president. This was a coup with the presidency. They threatened him with the 25th Amendment. They said, Joe, we're going to threaten you with a thing called the 25th Amendment. You're cognitively and physically a mess. And if you don't get out, we're going to take you out with the 25th Amendment. And he said, I'll go. And then the fake news said, oh, he was so brave. He was so brave. No, he was forced to leave. So now we have a new candidate to defeat the most incompetent, unpopular, and far-left vice president in American history, probably the most far-left person in American history. Less than 4 months from now, Minnesota is going to defeat Kamala Harris. And remember what I said a short time ago, she strongly fought for many, many bad things. But to me, I love the police. We're not defunding them. We're going to fund them. We're going to overfund them. She's just thinking. She's defund the police, and I'm overfund the police. We're going to overfund. We're going to evict this radical and incompetent administration from the White House, and together we are going to make America great again. With your vote this election, inflation will stop, the illegal aliens will be turned back. With your vote this election, inflation will stop, the illegal aliens will be turned back, the cartels will be in retreat, crime will fall, energy prices will plummet, incomes will soar, and a world in chaos will rapidly be transformed into a planet of peace. And very importantly, and you don't hear this anymore, the words you don't hear under the Trump administration, the American dream will come roaring back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. The American dream will come back, right? But if a crazy liberal, and she's beyond liberal, look, she was a failure at every stop. She was a failed vice president. She was a horrible district attorney. She destroyed San Francisco. She was a liberal she was there before all the guys that you're currently reading about, right? If a crazy liberal like Kamala Harris gets in, the American dream is dead. I believe it's dead. I believe it's dead. Over the past 3.5 years, Border Czar Harris, which is what she called herself, even the New York Times today, they took an article out of the New York Times, Border Czar. Now, you know, they're deleting everything that says, these people back there are deleting everything, but we already have it. You know, 3 months ago, she was thought of so badly they were just killing her. And now that she's in this position, they're trying to make her into a, let's say, Margaret Thatcher. I don't think so. It's not going to happen. Margaret Thatcher didn't laugh like that, did she? Did she laugh? If she did, she wouldn't have been Margaret Thatcher. It's very simple, right? Border Czar Harris allowed almost 20 million illegal aliens to stampede into our country. If she gets another 4 years, it'll be 40 to 50 million more people in our country, and they'll be using Medicare and Social Security. They will be gone. They'll be wiped out. They'll be destroyed. There won't be a thing your government can do about it. She will kill Social Security and Medicare. As Vice President, Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking votes that created the worst inflation in half a century. I believe the worst inflation that we've ever had. You know, they don't use the real numbers. They don't use the numbers that are really, really bad, but they're bad enough to have the worst just about that anybody can ever even think of or remember, decimating working families. And if she wins, inflation will only get worse. It's going to get worse. Already energy and gasoline are going up. You see what's happening? More and more per gallon. We had it down to $1.87. We actually had it lower than that for a period of time. A Kamala Harris presidency means 4 more years of extremism, weakness, failure, chaos, and probably World War III. I really believe it. They have no, that's why this happened today in Israel. Shocking that it happened out of nowhere. A Trump victory will bring back leadership, competence, common sense, and strength to the Oval Office. That's what we had. We had no wars. We had no wars. Think of it. We had no wars. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton used to say, he's going to get us into a war. Look at him. Look at his rhetoric. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars. That's what happened. We had no wars. They didn't think about it. Putin would have never got in. Iran was broke. I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not doing any more business in the United States. And they didn't buy any. They didn't buy any. And we would have had to deal with Iran within 1 week after the election if the election didn't take that horrible turn. You know, we got millions more votes the second time than we did the first. The New York Times asked me, what happened the second time? I said, the second time we got like 10 million more votes, right? Oh, I never thought of that. The reporter said, oh, yeah, you're right, actually. Let's go to another question. But let's review Kamala's insanely liberal record. As a senator, she was ranked the #1 most radical left Democrat in the entire Senate. They say she made Bernie Sanders look like a moderate. He was unhappy with that today, did you see? He said, oh, no, I think I might have been more liberal than her. They were fighting over who's more liberal. If this country has a liberal president, this country is finished, okay, just so you know. And she's weak liberal. Just a few years ago, Kamala Harris co-sponsored Bernie Sanders' $32 trillion. You know what that means? That means file for bankruptcy as you're signing the legislation. Everything is gone. Your taxes will go up by 4 or 5 times, and it still won't be nearly enough. $32 trillion socialist takeover of the entire U.S. healthcare system. She endorsed outlawing private health insurance entirely. Many people have private health insurance. It's phenomenal. If they work hard and they make a little money, they want to have great health insurance. She wanted it outlawed. She supported giving free taxpayer-funded health care to all illegal aliens. Come on in. Come on in. No, but just think of it. Everybody that comes into our country, including from prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, you know, they go crazy when I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter. You know who that was? They say, why does he keep mentioning Hannibal Lecter? Well, you see, he was a slightly troubled patient in an insane asylum And he'd love to have you for dinner, you right there. He'd love to have you for dinner. But I mentioned him because we have people like that coming into our country. They're closing their insane asylums all over the world. They're sending their criminals into the United States. Venezuelan crime is down 72% because they're sending their criminals and their drug dealers and their prisoners to the United States. And next year, I think, instead of being here, which is a great place, I love this place, we'll go to Venezuela or someplace in South America where they've sent all their criminals to us because we'll have a nice, safe event. We can go to Venezuela next year where the crime drops 72%, and we're going to have a nice, safe event because in Minnesota, you will have lots of people that you don't have now, although many of them are here now. They're just sort of getting used to it. You'll have people from their jails and from their mental institutions in Minnesota. So we'll go to a nice, safe location. She co-sponsored the $100 trillion Green New Scam to abolish oil, coal, and natural gas. She pledged to ban fracking. No fracking. Oh, that's going to do well in Pennsylvania, isn't it? Remember Pennsylvania, I said it. She wants no fracking. She's on tape. The beautiful thing about modern technology is when you say something, you're screwed if it's bad. If you say it wrong, you're screwed. She said, I never said about fracking. Then we play about 90 tapes, There will be no fracking. We will defund the police, she says. I have to be very careful when I say that because if I say we will defund the police, imitating her, they'll put me on television tonight saying Donald Trump wants to defund the police, right? So, got to be very careful, Tom. Sarcasm doesn't work when you have a crooked press. When I imitated him, because Biden, and I don't want to waste a lot of time because it's over now, right? He's gone. I told you he would be. I told you he wasn't going to make it. I told you. In the debate, and they called for the debate. They wanted it early. I said, okay, I accepted every rule. Everyone said, why did you do that? I mean, you accepted CNN, you accepted Fake Tapper, you accepted all of these things. Why did you do that? So I said, because it's the only way, because they thought I wouldn't do it. So I said yes, and they were shocked. But we had the debate, right? And he kept saying, they'd say Jake Tapper, Fake Tapper. But I have to tell you, they were very fair. In my opinion, they were very fair. 95%. You can't ask for, I was shocked. They gained a whole level of respect. I really mean it. CNN and both of them, they gained a level of respect, right? Don't you think so? I do. I told them that. I called them both up. But I never saw a debate like this. So, we're given a certain period of time and I'm running. I got to talk very fast because there's so many things to say. My mind is rushing. Boom, and I hit it right on the butt. But they kept saying to him, sir, you have 92 seconds left. What? You have 92 seconds left. And I said, I'll take it. They said, no, you're not allowed to. You have 92 seconds. And he was like, oh, next question. So you have 38 seconds remaining. What? Oh. So we got off to a good start. But from the time of the debate, that was the beginning of the end. The debate was not good. And then he tried to recoup by going and doing some interviews with really nice people that actually wanted to help him along. But they can't answer the question for him. So it wasn't a good situation. And now we have somebody that's, I believe, worse than him. I really do. Kamala called for slashing consumption of red meat to fight climate change. Now, you know what that means? Because in a couple of countries, they're actually getting rid of their cows and their cattle. They want to get rid of their cattle because they say it's environmentally unacceptable. So that'll be next. They're going to be coming to you, Tom. Please go to the legislature and get rid of all cows, all cattle. Horses will be next. And at some point, I guess they'll go after the human also, won't they? It's crazy. The humans are next. No, she's terrible. I mean, she's as bad as you get. She supported mandatory gun confiscation, ripping firearms away from law-abiding citizens, and she said that a 80% tax rate is a bold idea that should be discussed. It's very interesting, too. I think that's nice. How about 80%? Kamala is also a total radical on abortion. Should we talk about abortion? Do you mind for a second, right? When you compare my position on abortion to that of Kamala Harris, my position is actually, just polled, 8 points higher, and that's because she's a radical. She's an absolute radical on abortion. She wants abortion in the 8th and 9th month of pregnancy. Think of that. And right up until birth and even after birth. The governor of Virginia, the ex-governor, we have a great governor of Virginia right now, but the governor that preceded Glenn is, he was horrible. I call him Michael Jackson, remember? Remember his wife stopped him from doing a moonwalk? Oh, that was a good thing because nobody could moonwalk like Michael. He wanted to moonwalk to show. That would not have been good, but he blew it anyway. But he said, we put the baby aside. If the baby's born, we put the baby aside and we discuss with the mother whether or not we terminate the baby's life. This is after. This is an abortion. This is called killing. This is called a word beyond abortion. This is called execution. Kamala supports taxpayer funds to pay for abortion for any reason. She even voted against legislation that would require medical providers to give care to babies born alive after an attempted abortion. They're the radical ones. You see, the Democrats really, and not all of them, because most of them agree with us, they're the radical ones, whereas our position is that abortion is now back to the states. They've wanted to have this. This has been going on for 52 years, the way everybody and all legal scholars, they always said this is the way it should be. Everybody wanted it back in the states. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, and legal scholars. Every legal scholar wanted it back in the states. And then about 14 years ago, people started talking about the number of weeks, the number of months, the number of this, that. They wanted it back in the states where people can decide, and that's what's happening. You look at Ohio, they decided. You look at Kansas, they decided. You look at a lot of different states, they decided. And sometimes it comes out the way certain people want it. Sometimes it didn't. Ohio came out with somewhat of a liberal interpretation, and so did Kansas, which was a little surprising, but it's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in exceptions for the life of the mother, rape, and incest. And I also believe that you have to follow your heart, but you also have to get elected. You have to remember that. We have to get elected. And I want to thank the 6 Supreme Court justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett for the wisdom and courage they showed on this long-term, very contentious issue. But getting it back to the states puts the question where it belongs, with the vote of the people, and it's over time. And you'll see this over time. It's going to work out incredibly well, and just an issue that was tearing our country apart for years and years is coming to an end, and people are coming together. It's going to be the vote of the people, and it's a state vote. It's the way it was supposed to be. It should have never been in the federal government. So thank you. I think it's so important to say. I think it's so important to talk about. This November, the American people are going to reject Kamala Harris's crazy liberal extremism on a massive landslide. We're going to have a landslide because it's going to be too big to rig. You know what too big to rig is? We're not going to let her turn the United States into communist San Francisco. You know, 15 years ago, San Francisco was perhaps the greatest city in the country. And now it's unlivable. It's unlivable. The crime is so bad. The drugs are so bad. She has ruined it. She was the original of the bad DAs. She was the original of the bad prosecutors. She blew them all away. There are a lot of people that say she destroyed San Francisco. She will destroy our country. She will destroy. And moderate, you know what? We can maybe live with moderate, but we have to bring our country back. We've gone down a long way. Remember this. Out of the 20 million people, and probably much more than that came in, so many, they have to be taken out. We're going to have the largest deportation effort in the history of our country. The criminals, we have to get them out immediately. Every voter in Minnesota needs to know that when the violent mobs of anarchists and looters and Marxists came to burn down Minneapolis 4 years ago, remember me? I couldn't get your governor to act. He's supposed to call in the National Guard or the Army, and he didn't do it. I couldn't get your governor. So I sent in the National Guard to save Minneapolis while Kamala Harris sided with the arsonists and rioters and raised money to bail out the criminals, bail them all out of jail. By the way, I feel so bad. There are 25,000 people outside that cannot. If you people all go and vote, now look. There's no way we lose this. There's no way we should lose this state. The other day, Kamala had 972 people, we counted it. They said it was 2,000, and that's okay. But they said she had a massive crowd of 2,000 people. It wasn't, it was under 1,000. But this, they never talk about this. Take a look at that. That's great camera work. It must, I know it's not a news camera because they don't do that. Even the ones that are on our side. They don't show the crowd size. I love crowd size. We've always had the biggest crowds. In history, there's never been anything like this. No, you had to see, we drove from the airport to here, and practically the whole way, there were just thousands and thousands of people. It's incredible. Incredible. If they don't cheat, we win this state easily, okay? They cheat. They have no shame. They cheat. Do you understand that, you crooked people? They're the most crooked. They cheat. They cheated in the last election, and they're going to cheat in this election, but we're going to get them. They used COVID to cheat. And this time they'll try and find something, but we think we have them blocked. They have no shame whatsoever. You know, the amazing thing is the press, when they write about this rally tomorrow, they'll say, President Trump was here. He had a small smattering of people, a small, delicate crowd of a few people. Sometimes they'll say a few hundred people. They never talk about it, and they never show the crowd, no matter, look at the corner. See the corner of the room? Turn your camera right up in that corner. See that corner? See that corner up there? See that corner up there? See that corner? Look at that. Look at him. Look at that guy. He's going crazy up there. He loves it. He's going crazy. He's got the worst seat in the House, and he's got more attention than anybody. Look at him. But those cameras will never turn, will they, huh? See, I'm watching the cameras. They're not turning because they don't want to turn, because they don't want to show what's happening. This is the greatest movement in the history of our country. And if we don't win this election, our country is finished. You know, I used to plead with the fake news, but now I learned it's not worth it. But I plead, show the crowd, please show the crowd. You know, I'd say, show the crowd. And they'd keep that camera blaring right on my face. They'd show it as tight as possible, as tight as you can. And I'd say, you got to show the crowd, you got to show it. And I actually thought in 2015 and 2016 when I started, because we had these crowds from the beginning, I have to say now they're bigger and better and stronger, I think, than ever before. Bigger and better. Look at that. That's, when I say the corner, you know the place is packed if those seats are gone. But I love that one guy up there. He's going crazy. We've made him a star. But I used to say, turn the camera, turn it. I went through, and I never understood, because it's actually good for them. It shows that people are watching something. So I figured it would be easy. Even the bad ones, they should do it. They should show the kind of crowd size. And they wouldn't do it. Even the friendly ones, I won't mention names, okay? But you know who I'm talking about. Friendly, they would never show the crowd. And then I realized what it must be. It's a metal object. And I figured they couldn't turn the camera because it's on steel tripods. And I figured it's very rigid. And then one night in late 2015, just prior to 2016, there was a terrible fight, like over there in the corner, where the only way a camera could get the fight would be to do a triple tripod loop, swirl underneath the people's legs. And that camera, I'd never seen any piece of steel bend so much. It was like, they got every second of that fight. I said, you mean the cameras do turn very well? And they do. That was when I learned it's fake news. It's just fake news. But they won't show this crowd. They won't show. But more impressive than this crowd is honestly the people outside. You have thousands and thousands of people. So we love them. We love them. We love them. We do. We love you. We love you all. How good is this place? What a state. I think I should move here. No, but we have a lot of states. They're all, look, they all see what's happening to our country. They're all incredible. We always have packed houses, to put it mildly, like this. I mean, the spirit has never, ever been like this. We did great in 2016. We did better in 2020. There's never been spirit like this, Tom. I don't think we've ever had, Pete, never had spirit like this. Great hockey player, by the way. Great hockey player. Pop. Great hockey player. We've never had spirit like this. So we have to do, we're going to turn it around fast. We'll turn this thing around real fast. You're going to be so happy. Kamala urged her followers to donate to the so-called Minnesota Freedom Fund, helping raise $35 million to set loose violent offenders after they shot at police, looted your store, sexually assaulted innocent victims, and committed all sorts of other heinous crimes. One of the criminals Kamala helped bail out of jail was Sean Michael Tillman, very famous now, unfortunately, a repeat offender who, with Harris's help, was set free. She set free many very bad people. And then he went on a murder rampage. He killed a man on a train platform in St. Paul, shooting him 6 times in the head. Okay? She just turned him free. Ultra-liberal Kamala Harris will deliver crime, chaos, mayhem, and death to our country. I will restore law and order, justice in America. With your vote, we will get the gang members, drug dealers, and dangerous criminals the hell out of our states. We'll get them off our streets. We'll put them behind bars. But what we're really going to do is send them back to the country from where they came. You know, a certain country in South America, and by the way, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from the Congo in Africa, 22 prisoners. Where do you come from? Congo. The good thing about these people is they make our criminals look like really nice people. It's true. Our criminals are now considered fine, upstanding people by comparison to these people. I told Dana White, UFC, do we love Dana White? How good was he at the convention? I said, Dana, I have a great idea. Take your great championship fighters from all over the world, you're champions right now, but start another league, called it an illegal migrant league. And then take the best of those fighters and let them fight. I believe the migrants will win. I think it's crazy. You know, I told that little sort of a sarcastic joke. The press went crazy with it. He wants to start a migrant league. He wants to start a migrant league. I was going to tell you when I was up here 2 months ago, I imitated Biden because he can't find the stairs ever. The stairs, 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 stairs. 2 stairs. Get so many stairs. Get so many stairs. It's like too many stairs. I don't know what the hell they need them for. But they spend a lot of money. Government often will spend. Government has many more stairs than private. We put up like 1 stair. They put up like 12. But you always have a lot of stairs. So I'm imitating him and I'm being funny. And I think I'm being so funny. And I had a tremendous crowd. We had 42,000 people. And I'm saying to the people, you know, when Biden gets off, do you ever notice? First of all, he doesn't make long speeches like that. Second of all, even though he can't read a teleprompter, he never goes off the teleprompter. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I was telling the people, I said, you know, do you ever watch when he's finished with his 2-minute speech? It never lasts more than 2, maybe 3 minutes. 3 is like a long speech. He goes, and he'll point at a stair. And then he'll walk. He'll point right at the stair, and then he won't be able to find the stair. This is what we have negotiating nuclear weapons with Putin, with Kim Jong-un, with President Xi of China. No, this isn't going to work out. Bad things are going to happen. But I called my wife. I said, who else could do it? Who else could do it? I had 50,000 people. How great was my speech? How did I look? How great was I? It's on speech. I said, First Lady, how great did I look? She said, there was something wrong with your hair tonight. It looked terrible. She said, you were okay, but you know, I have 50,000 people. Elvis didn't have 50, and he had a guitar. I had no guitar. I didn't have the use, right? Elvis had a guitar. He had a lot. We love Elvis, right? But he had a guitar. I don't have a guitar. So we'd have like 50, 60, 70. You know, we had 107,000 people in New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore. Wildwood, New Jersey, it was beautiful. We had 25,000 people in the South Bronx, and it was like a love fest. It was like a love fest. 25,000 people. And I said to the First Lady, how great was I tonight? I didn't like your hair. I didn't like that. I said, who the hell else can get 52, 58, 79? We had 79,000 people in South Carolina. Who can get it, First Lady? And she didn't care about that. Then I called her finally. I called her, she said, you were great tonight. Oh, I said, that's great. Thank you very much. And I said, how else? I mean, was it really good? Yeah, but there was a problem. Why couldn't you find your way off the stage? They said you couldn't find. So these people, I was playing and having fun, imitating Joe Biden not being able to find the stairs. And they said that Trump couldn't find the stairs off the stage. So I have to be very careful. Tonight I'll have a very bad night because I haven't done that little routine in a long time because of that. You were good, but you know, it looked really bad at the end, darling. You couldn't find the stairs. What's wrong with you? Nah, I can find the stairs. I'll let you know when it's my time not to find the stairs. I'm going to know. And I'm going to call Tom Emmer. I'm going to say, Tom, it's about time for me to go. Okay, nobody's going to have to tell me. You know, I get up and I don't even read the teleprompters most of the time. So I'll do 80-90% of the speech off teleprompter. And they'll say, he mispronounced a word. He mispronounced a word. They had a word the other day, crooked. I said cricket, you know. And rather than go back and, I don't like to go back, because going back means you made a mistake. You just blast through it. He didn't know how to pronounce the word crooked. I've been saying it for years about these crooked politicians that we're dealing with. So you can't even make a little bit of a flub. But even after the rioters did hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage in Minnesota, Kamala Harris declared the so-called peaceful protests, quote, are not going to let up, and they should never let up. We should continue to go forward. In other words, those protests were good. She